Hi, I'm Margie from Marjorie's Candies, and today I've already made a banana pudding. Has a meringue on top, and you make it with vanilla wafers and vanilla pudding that you can either make your own vanilla pudding from scratch, or you can actually buy like a Jello instant or cooked vanilla pudding, and that works really very well also. You want to use bananas that are very ripe, not too ripe. I'll show you the ones I use. I have little spots on them. But this is a very popular recipe, and I love it, and I'll eat the whole thing if I don't end up sharing it with some neighbors. I'll be back in a couple of minutes to show you how to get started. For the banana pudding, we've got our bananas, which I'm going to peel a little bit later because we need to make the pudding first and then allow that to cool a little bit. So we'll slice those, and what I have here is this is 1 cup of sugar, which I'm going to pour into my pot, and I've got flour, and I'm going to put in, that's 1/4 cup of flour, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and we're going to mix that together. Give it a little stir with the whisk just to combine it. I also have a wooden spoon here somewhere. I'll get another one if I put it down somewhere. Who knows where. So you just want to mix those ingredients together. And then you're going to take this extra 1/2 cup of sugar is going to go with the egg whites. Okay, there's 6 eggs here that are separated into the whites and the yolk. So this sugar is later going to go into the egg white for a meringue on the top. So now what you want to do is add your 4 cups of milk. And I'm just going to add a little bit and give it a stir. Actually, I think I'll use this first. Got a pot. Something in each hand. Just want to get the flour off the bottom of the pot. And then I'm going to use the whisk just to blend it in. And then I'll add some more milk. But that's 4 cups of milk, 1 cup of sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then when this comes to a boil, I'm going to add the eggs. And then I'm going to sort of stir these eggs around a little bit so they're blended, and then I'm going to temper the eggs with the hot milk mixture. I'll add the rest of this milk. Now this has come to a boil. I just turned it off because it was boiling up. But it just came to a boil. And now what you want to do is let this simmer for about 15 minutes. So you want to put it on low so you can watch it. You can let it simmer for a little bit without stirring it, but mostly you want to be watching it pretty carefully because that milk will stick and burn to the bottom of the pot. Now as you can see, this has come to a nice simmer for 15 minutes. So now we're going to, I'm going to stir these eggs, and in a moment I'm going to temper the eggs with this milk to warm them up so I can add the eggs to the milk mixture. So I'm just going to stir these eggs, and it would be really helpful if I had a paper towel that was wet, just to put underneath this for a moment. Okay, that just helps keep it from sliding a little. Okay, so I'm going to add this milk just a little bit while I'm stirring. Just a little bit, and just keep it moving. It just helps the heat warm up the eggs a little bit, keep them from cooking. And then you can go back this direction. Stir this and that just keeps the eggs from cooking. Now I'm going to bring it back to the stove and cook it for another 5 minutes. The eggs will thicken it up. Now you really want to keep stirring this for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is not that long. You should be able to watch it carefully because you don't want this to burn. I also want you to see now that it's boiling, I'm also using my whisk. When you make a pudding, whisks are the most wonderful things. I mean, stirring is good to keep it off the bottom. And I have it on high right now. I can put it on a little bit lower. But you really need to watch so you see it's getting pretty thick. So you kind of want to do both, whisk and the spoon. So this has been 5 minutes, and you see it's nice and thick. So I'm just going to let this sit for a little while. I'm going to slice up my bananas and just let it cool down a little bit. I still need to add the vanilla. So I'm going to add the vanilla when it stops bubbling. Now I'm going to be putting in the 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Now I double this recipe. I mean, you can use this recipe. What I mean is a normal recipe is half this much. But I like to have a lot of pudding for my bananas, and I just like that. If I have a little left over, I can just put some blueberries with it in a little dish. Now when I let this sit for a little while, just for it to stop, bubbling and stuff, it kind of got thicker. So it was a little bit not smooth. So you can just take your whisk. I kind of whisked it already, but like I say, whisks are wonderful things for pudding. Okay, so we're ready to slice the bananas. So we have our bananas here we're going to slice, and I'm going to slice them one at a time just to make sure that I really don't slice more than I need. And then I'm going to have my vanilla wafers ready. And we'll start lining this dish. It's a nice dish because you can see the sides. You can see the pudding and the bananas and the wafers, and that's fun. Alright. Now these are my egg whites. I use the yolks in the pudding, and these are the egg whites. I put a little wet paper towel under the bowl, and I'm going to start to beat them with this hand mixer. You can use an electric beater, you can use your stand-up mixer, but I like to do this just because it's kind of fun. And after they get pretty thick, then I'll start to add my sugar slowly. This is going to take a couple of minutes, so I'll be back. So this is starting to get pretty thick. So I'm going to add some of the sugar in. You don't want them to get all dried out. You want them to be able to peak a little bit. This is a meringue. It's going to go on the top. When you put the sugar in, it kind of softens it up a little bit, like it tenderizes it or something. I'm just going to go back and forth a little bit. Not quite stiff enough. See how it makes little peaks now? I don't know if you can see that it kind of just makes little peaks. So now we're ready to put this on top. Now be careful when you separate your eggs not to get any of the yolk into it, because that will keep it from fluffing up. I was actually pretty lucky because I did get a little of the yolk in, but I tried to pull it out, so I got lucky there, so be careful. So now I'm slicing the bananas about ½ inch, and my next door neighbor loves this. So I'll be bringing some of this over because it makes quite a bit. So I've really just done 2 bananas. I'll do more as I go along, and now we're going to get ready to set it up. So what we do, we kind of just start this just like you do lasagna. You're going to layer it with you want to always put the cookies into the pudding, because that helps to make them soft. So you put them in, and then you'll stick a few bananas on top of that. Okay. And then you put some more pudding on top of kind of cover it over. This is why I always make more pudding, because you just really almost can't have too much pudding, I think. Cover it over, and then you add more of your, I kind of push them out to the side so you can see them. That's why we have the glass bowl. So you just keep doing this and go around, and I don't know whether you should put them upside down or right side up, the cookies. I just probably could do both. Doesn't matter. Okay. More bananas. And I'll just keep doing this. I'm going to add some more of the pudding. And I'll come back to you when I'm all done, and you'll see. You just want to make sure you cover it over. And you just keep adding till you want to stop. If you're using a 9x13, something really shallow, you know, it'll be a little different how it will fill up. I also want you to know that I put the oven on 425 because the meringue is going to have to cook until it's sort of golden brown. It takes about 10 minutes. Okay, so as soon as I'm done with this, the oven should be ready to put this in. Now I've finished off the pudding with just the pudding on top, no cookies or bananas. The pudding is on top. Now when you put the meringue on top, you kind of want to just throw it on in little scoops and go all the way out to the edge. You always want to seal your edge. Put it in little scoops. All the way around. And you can kind of make little swirlies, little peaks. By putting a tip of your spoon in. Those little peaks are what are going to turn brown when you bake it. You wouldn't want to make it totally smooth. Now I'll put it in the oven till it turns brown. I just took it out of the oven, and as you can see, it looks a little golden brown and has the little brown tips. So you really want to put this into the refrigerator probably for a good day or so before you eat it, just to make sure that the crackers, the cookies are nice and soft.